Terry. This is Alka from Global Women Power, and we are a nonprofit working for the women empowerment to say, but we are more focused on their social and financial freedom. So we create jobs for them, we create motivation, we create network, inspiration. So in that context only, we started this chain. It's called Meet Our Sheroes. So we meet our women of eminence, who can be a real life example for other women. So the way we conduct it is, like you tell us what you're doing at present, from where your journey started, and where are you going with this.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
So over to you, Terry.
Well, on July 3rd, 1996, I found out that there was a parade the very next day in Tracy. So I crashed the 4th of July parade as Lady Liberty on rollerblades. And I didn't know you were supposed to pre-register, get a sign a waiver, get a number as your entry. I just showed up. And the Tracy Press took my picture, interviewed me, and I was featured in their next issue of the Tracy Press. Well, fast forward 1 year, the VFW, Veterans of Foreign War, were the ones that put on the 4th of July parade. And they called me up and they said, "Are you the roller skating grandmother?" Grandmother? And I was like, okay, well, I am 47 years old. I guess I'm old enough to be a grandmother. And they go, yeah. And they said, well, we want you to come back and skate in our parade officially this year. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I'd already been Lady Liberty. So I was like, wow, what'll I be? And I waitressed at a restaurant for years that allowed us to dress up on Halloween. And my mother had sewn a costume for me. And I went, clown parade, I guess it works. So I was a clown on rollerblades who pretended like she didn't know how to roller skate. I had a body pillow wrapped around my bottom. I was skating like this, fell on my bottom, legs in the air, and people laughed. And like, oh my gosh, this is what I could be when I grow up. Now, mind you, I'm 47 years old at this time. And a friend of mine, I was a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and Karen said, you need to meet Irene. Irene moved to Tracy, had been a professional clown who retired. And she took me under her wing, mentored me, coached me, helped me. She was the most wonderful influence that I had in my life at that time, and gave me the courage to go to 2 different clown schools. And by my 3rd month after school, I was able to forget all of my other money-making adventures and become a full-time clown. Now, the 4th of July, this coming 4th of July, will be my 27th anniversary of being a full-time clown.
Wow.
Yeah, it's exciting. And I'd like to share, one of the schools was led by a teacher who was clowning, but was teaching us how to clown. So she's promoting this. And the best thing I got out of that school, and I don't remember if that was the one that we met twice a week for 6 weeks or once a week for 8 weeks, because I get that one and the other one confused, but it's irrelevant. Well, this teacher would ask a question. There was 12 students. The teacher would ask a question, and I'd raise my hand and give the answer, and the teacher would go, no. A little later, she'd ask another question, and I'd raise my hand and answer the question, and she'd say no. After a while, I wasn't even raising my hand at all because I didn't want to be told no. Now, the other students were like, what's wrong with your answer? I think it was the teacher felt threatened by my energy, that I was going to be eventually taking business away from her, is the only thing I could think of. But the gift of being told no is what I carry into my clowning when I am doing my silly show with magic.
Maybe she knew you knew the answer and wanted them to see if they knew it. That might have been it too in the beginning.
Yeah, but don't tell me no. But what else? What else is there? I don't know. But she made it wrong, and I didn't. After a while, I didn't want to be wrong. So, in my silly show with magic, I am not very bright. In fact, blooming idiot today. And I tell the kids that I need their help because I get confused. I forget things. So if they can speak up and help me, I'd appreciate it. So I'll ask a whole bunch of questions. And kids, I actually don't need I don't mind chaos. So if everybody's raising their hand, that's too much like school. So I will just say, yell it out, call out. And I don't go, no. I might go, oh, I never thought of that. Or, oh, that's interesting. Or something that is empowering to that child so that they will keep raising their hand, keep calling out, letting their imaginations go, not be shut down. So I think that has pretty much buoyed me for these 27 years. How can I let kids have a voice? How can I encourage them to speak up, even though it may be wrong? But who knows? Because for a long time, people thought the world was flat. People, look, that is a great analogy. So why not keep encouraging the kids to brainstorm and think and tell me what to do and how to do it? In that same show, I don't know how to jump rope. And I do what the kids tell me.
All this is happening after your 47th birthday.
Well, this is going to continue happening. My mom's 101. So I figure I'm going to be clowning at least until I'm in my hundreds.
No, but this journey started after your 47th year, right?
Yeah. Before I started clowning, I had 50 different jobs trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I recognized I didn't want to grow up, but I wasn't looking for work. People would come to me because they loved the energy. It was like, oh, come to work for me. And I would go to work for them for a while until somebody else came along and went, oh, come to work for me. And I would give my 2-week notice and go to work for them until somebody else came along and said, oh, come to work for me. Because the energy, ADHD, I'm not, what's the word? I'm not diagnosed ADHD, but I've read a few books and going, that's me. So I can be a clown and popcorn all over the place. And they go, she's good. Not knowing that this is my ADHD acting. But in my jump rope thing, I actually performed this for adults. And a friend of mine works in IT, computers. And when I do the jump rope, they'll tell me to put the jump rope over my head. So I have it over my head. No, I have it over my head. I have it, let go over my head. Or under my feet, I step on it and jump on it. Or behind me. Behind? Did you say behind? Well, I will bend over and show my behind. And the kids are like, oh, wow. So I go, oh, you meant the rope behind my behind. So I take the rope handles and bend over with my butt showing the handles by my butt. And the kids will go, oh. Well, then I go, oh, you meant behind my back. So I will take the rope diagonally like you're in the shower with it, and I'm clean doing my back. So everything they're telling me, and I can go on and on and on and on and on. Everything they're telling me, I'm doing what they're saying, but not what they're meaning. So with this, the guy who from Silicon Valley said, I should package this to take to Silicon Valley, because the miscommunication that happens when the boss says, I want you to do this, the person goes, and they go off on a tangent, but not what the boss meant. So how much miscommunication in the work world happens.
Wow.
So I capitalize on that, but it gives the children a voice. And I have had teachers, principals, librarians tell me afterwards that they had never seen their children be able to vocalize so well to try to tell me what to do and then be wrong and try a different way and try a different way and try a different way and use their imagination. And I use this in a literacy program, and I call it it's edutainment. So it's a combination of reading, talking about the importance of reading, doing some elements of my show where there's what they're saying and what I'm doing are totally different, but it engages the kids. So they'll sit still for 60 to 70 minutes of young as 2 years old. They'll sit still that long as I am empowering them to think things and talk things out. So that was a long way of explaining how I got started and what I do.
That is absolutely amazing to get little kids' attention like that. You know, 2s and 3s, they're good for 3 minutes, then you got to start something else to keep their attention. I studied early childhood education, so I know from that.
Well, the fact that they raise their hand for the magic wand, they have the finger, so they're doing that. There's a lot of things that they're doing physically to be engaged. They all say the magic word, that kind of thing. So that's my joy. I was asked today if I was going to retire, and I went, I'm old enough to retire, but I'm going to be doing this like up to my mom's age.
Can we see the rest of your suit? Can you stand up or something?
Yeah, well,
you have to talk so the screen will go to you.
Okay, well, there's my waist and there's my skirt.
That's
and
gorgeous.
I always wear shorts because if I bend over or the jump rope gets caught on my skirt and goes up, I've got the shorts covering up my bottom.
Well, it's kind of hard to see because you have the blur background on, so we can't really see anything.
I don't know how to unblur it.
Okay, no problem.
I'm not, but these are scrunchies. My mother made my first costume, which was the pajama type. Were back. It was like one color for one side and then that color over on the sleeve and the opposite color here and all that. And it looked like pajamas with the same type of collar. But I had all these kids saying, Mr. Clown. Mr. was like, but I'm a girl. So I then changed over to the same collar, but a skirt and petticoats. And I still get Mr. Clown, but it's not as frequent. But my mom made probably 24 costumes. And she said, she'll make as many as I want, as long as I don't change the pattern. Fabric and the design, that's fine. But the design was always a skirt with a ruffle. You can see the ruffle, about 7 inches of ruffle. Oops, no, you're not seeing it. Up there, no. There's a ruffle on the bottom of the skirt. And if the skirt were put down on the ground, it would make a complete full circle. So there's a lot of fabric. So my mom was what's the word for somebody who's a sewer? There's a fancy name for that. Anyway, she made my costumes.
Yes.
What are the questions?
Yeah, so I will ask one question. You know, people generally say laughter is the best medicine.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And I have seen, you know, I consider myself also pretty witty, you know, and I know from my experience, I observe everything that's happening around me, you know, and everything can turn into a comic angle also. So these 50 jobs in your life, you know, taught you a lot. That's what my question is. Like, can you bring something from there? These different jobs, meeting different people?
Well, do you want me to share with you when I look back at some of these jobs where I was clowning 20 years before, but I didn't know I was clowning?
Exactly.
Something like that.
Yes.
Okay. I'm waitressing at a restaurant and I love waitressing. And that was probably the biggest place where I got the most job offers because people like sitting in my section because I brought joy to their meal. Well, I finally got hired away by a company in Los Altos. And it was pretty straight-laced, very conservative owners. But it sounded fascinating. And I knew that I was going to be in training the first day. So I was not going out in the world. I was going to be in the office. And it happened to fall on Valentine's Day. So I show up in red tights, red shorts, a red top, and I had painted angel wings bright red. So my first day at work in this job was as Cupid. And I look back going, oh, what was I thinking? But it was like, well, of course. And the people, I ran into them decades later, and they're going, I remember when you came to work. That was so fun. And brightening up people's lives. When I was waitressing, on my birthday, they said, you want your birthday off? And I went, no way. No. I want to work on my birthday. And one year, I made a banner that said, instead of Miss America kind of banner, it said Over the Hill. Because I think I turned 40 at that one. And I put some balloon animals across my shoulders. And people would wish me a happy birthday. And I go, how'd you know? Who told you? Well, of course, I had a ball, and now all these people wished me happy birthday. I made double the tips that day, had a ball. People shared with me that their birthday came and went, and nobody ever wished them a happy birthday. So I want to think that I inspired some of these people to let loose and get out of their comfort zone. Which, of course, now reminds me of a story of my mother. My mother was a rather shy, timid, insecure woman with low self-esteem. She used to sing around the house, and I would howl. Oh, oh, oh! Like it was hard on my ears. But I did not know that Mom thought I was serious. And she stopped singing. Or at least stopped singing when I was around. Mom ended up with breast cancer when she was 75. And in her convalescence, she told my sister, I want to learn to sing. So my sister found a music teacher, a vocal teacher, and my mom started taking singing lessons at 75. My mom blossomed. My mom, who was rather timid, I mean, we belonged to a water ski club, and she could water ski fine. She could organize a potluck fine, but at the meeting, to get on a microphone and say, thank you very much for bringing your item to the potluck, she was petrified. She wouldn't do that. But she can organize behind the scenes, but not public speak. So for my mom at 75, 76, to get the courage to sing in front of people was a turning point in her life. And she recognized that being timid, being shy, being reticent did not support her. And she now sings with a band every Tuesday. She occasionally will drive. She still has her driver's license until she's 105. She will sometimes go to Modesto and go dancing there. In the last hour, she sings. But she now is a butterfly. She will, hey, you're new. I haven't met you before. And she'll talk to them, and she'll introduce that person to that person. And she is like this, the hostess with the mostess, having come out of her shell. And people go, oh, that's too late. Never too late. Never too late to try something new and different and hopefully affect the lives of others positively. So, anyway, I'm popcorning around with other subjects.
Right. So another question. How about you personally? Do you grieve, or are you serious, sad, or just make people laugh, or you live the life you are portraying?
Oh, no, I can be human. I can be human. Interesting that you asked that, because the first thing that came to mind was anger. I was raised when good girls don't have anger. Period. Anger. The good emotions are okay. but anger, good girls don't have anger.
Mm.
And when I had anger, I wasn't a good girl. And I think that contributed to my being bulimic and alcoholic because I had anger, so I wasn't a good girl, and I didn't know what to do with the anger. And that was a way of trying to keep me like normal people instead of like what I am. And I recently took a course where they said, no, all emotions are okay. It's like, really? All emotions, good emotions, bad emotions, all emotions, like anger. Sometimes there's a good time to have anger. If there's somebody that is snatching your child from the street corner, you're going to be so angry, you're going to be motivated to save your child. Or it could be a tiger running after him, getting a child, whatever. So your anger could be used for good or for bad. So it's not like there's a label on it and you can't have it. It's how you deal with it, how you deal with it successfully. So that was, so, there's real parts of me that I'm not always flowery and joyful. And I think, in my show too, I express a number of emotions so the kids can see facial expressions that run the gamut. So I think did I answer your question? Sort
Yes.
of, or is there more? Okay.
Yes, you did. In this movie, what I'm talking about, this guy makes people laugh. He himself was a really, really sensitive kid and boy, and growing older. And by when he's to retire from the circus, so at that time he invites all the love of his life, first love, second love, they got married. He never got married, and then he puts up a show. In that show, what he shows, that's what will be very relevant to you. He just shows that, his heart has a problem and he's being operated upon, right? So the problem is that his heart has grown bigger. And then somebody is operating on his heart, and then, they say there's no heart there. And then he goes to everybody and he asks them, have you seen my heart? Have you seen my heart? It was very symbolic. So what I want to say from this is that, making people laugh, it comes so much from, the inner core of you, because you understand where it hits and where it hurts. Is that so? Because you have lived life facing the cruel realities of life, then that's the only way you can just, go through it and can make people laugh. Am I right about it?
I didn't feel growing up. My sister and I were, as I said, good girls don't have anger. My parents belonged to some organizations where we were the perfect daughters. We looked good, we sounded good, we could talk, they showed us off, sort of like children are just be seen and not heard. So out there in the world, we were the perfect little kids. I could not speak up. I didn't feel like I had a voice or my own choice for anything. Sucked my thumb till I was 13. A lot of emotional stuff, like I mentioned about trying to be normal. Well, I wasn't normal growing up. And so a lot of low self-esteem and self-hatred that I self-medicated with the alcohol and the compulsive overeating. But a good girl couldn't be fat, so I used bulimia to stay skinny. It was the worst, awful way of conducting a life. But yeah, my youth it looked good on the outside. It really did. And then when my mom and dad got divorced after 37 years, after 37 years of marriage, people in the two organizations that they were active in had no clue there was any issue, any problems at all. Because what they put out to the world was everything's rosy, it's wonderful, no problem. And it wasn't real. So I think that also contributed to my mom breast cancer recovery is to be real. It's okay to voice what's going on, to share your voice. So, and fortunately, this coming December will be my 40th year of sobriety and non-bulimic behaviors.
Wow, wow.
And I wish that I had known somebody back then that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, but therapy helps. Therapy and getting to know me and understanding decisions that I made early in my life, like everybody knew better than me, giving my parents the power because they knew better, so I didn't have a voice. Well, that's perhaps why my mission is so big right now about having these kids have a voice so that they can speak up. It may be as simple as, no, it's not a kitty cat, that's a skunk. Could be that simple, or instructions on how to jump rope. But the children are learning to vocalize and find their voice, however it may be.
You know, your services are needed for everybody. I do lots of marriage counseling.
What kind of counseling?
Marriage counseling.
Oh, marriage. Oh, yeah.
So I can see people have become serious once they get married, you know. The fun part is gone. You know.
Yeah. And you're on good behavior when you're courting.
Yes.
And then when you're married, then the real you comes out. It's like, oh,
We're
I'm on my
all
first
actors.
marriage.
Huh?
What, Nancy?
Nancy,
you say,
you're on
Nancy?
mute and then you say
We
something.
are all actors or entertainers in the beginning.
But, yes. So what I'm saying is, I think your viewpoint about life is needed everywhere. Not only with kids, with these overgrown kids also, those who got
Yeah.
and then they forgot to ask questions, or they not ready to be proven wrong. You know, they have to be right every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really, you know, impressed, and you are kind of, you know, rejuvenating me and then reminding me that, you know, one should be lighter about life and funny, and you have brought that energy to our show.
Thank
I
you.
must say that.
I appreciate being invited. Thank you.
So another
Also, next
question
time
is,
we have an event, we have to book her.
yeah.
Yep. I'll
So
travel anywhere in the world.
I want to ask you, can you suggest that people can take this as a career? Is it self-supporting enough? They can.
Well, yes. Although the cost of everything is going up considerably. But yeah, it's not going to buy a Mercedes. It's not going to buy a house in the Hamptons or a second home at Martha's Vineyard. But I was just talking to my best friend today, who's going to be downsizing, she hopes, to an 832 square foot house. And she was saying she would much rather have a small house and fewer possessions and thrift store clothing and have her husband home. Because right now he is 5 days a week, he's in the Bay Area, and then he goes home near Sacramento for 2 days and then goes back. So 5 days or 5 days a week, he's not there. So she would much rather downsize and have him sitting on the patio on the deck, sipping coffee and watching the birds in a smaller location, because the joy of being with somebody you love is sure better than possessions.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, she just this morning as I was going to my gig, she was talking about that. But yeah, I have done really well. 20 years ago, I married Ravioli the clown. We had a clown wedding and raised money for a local charity in Tracy. So together we're doing okay. But yeah, but you know, even if people want to have it be a hobby, if I may plug 2 organizations that they can go to online. One is World Clown Association .com or .org or .something. And the other one is Clowns of America International Actually, all they have to do is push that in and the website will come up.
Mm.
And both of them are very reasonably priced. You can get insurance through them. They will teach you about balloon tying, about bookings, how about keeping track of the money that you make so you will pay taxes on them.
Mm.
Oh, I've got a story to tell you.
Mm.
Apparently, there's a lot of people in the entertainment industry that are paid under the table.
Mm.
And the IRS will go after a block of these people because they think money is not being reported for them to pay taxes on.
Mm.
So we got audited. And it's like, fine. So I'm showing the book, the calendar, and the notes and all that. And then I have a page where my party number is 5,000. Wait, no, it's at 5,358, I think, right now. But the person's name, the date they called, the city it's going to be in, and then in parentheses, at the day of the party, in parentheses, sometimes there's a number and then a final number. And the IRS agent said, "What's the number in parentheses?" I said, "Oh, I got a tip." And the agent went, "You got a tip and you wrote it in your book, in your calculations?" And I went, "Well, yeah." The IRS agent was so blown away that every amount of money that my husband and I made is accounted for. They went out of their way to find loopholes in the IRS booklet to find us hundreds of dollars more that we didn't know about in the loopholes.
Mm.
So we walked away from that IRS audit richer because of honesty. But
Big
that's
lesson.
part. It's like, but when you don't have to worry, like, oh, they're going to be audited, it's like, yeah, so what? If you're hiding something, you're it's like you're not honest with them, you're not honest with yourself.
Mm.
So peace of mind is really important. Peace of mind. So
Yeah.
when I go to schools, I am part of the Chamber of Commerce in Tracy, and we do mock interviews and we do some coaching with the high school kids. And one of the things that I encourage the kids to do is find out what they love, what they personally love. Not that mom and dad says, "Oh, you'll be a good doctor," or "You should be a lawyer," or "You should be It's like, what do you want to do? What makes you excited and thrilled about life? More times than not, it's not the career that mom and dad is choosing for them.
Mm.
And for me, they acknowledge whatever it is. And they said, your friends may give you a hard time about it, but it's okay. They're not going to be living your life for the next 50 years.
Mm.
You do what you love, whether it is going to college or not. If you like working with your hands or with cars or tools or wanting something that you feel fulfilled, it's your fulfillment. It's not making your family members or whatever happy. And the kids are like, they didn't know that they could question mom and dad's view, the ideas of what they should become. So, I mean, look at this. I'm a clown. Who would have thought?
You are a real life example of do what you really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And another question I have, can we interview your mom sometimes?
Oh, absolutely. She'd love it. Yeah. Yeah, she lives in Tracy.
Perfect.
So, and she has her own computer and her own iPhone. And
Oh.
yeah, she actually interviewed, my sister has a program called peakmoment.tv. And for that, because it's more ecological stuff that my sister spent over 330 interviews of people. Mom talked about surviving the Depression.
Okay.
What it was like to live on watercress sandwiches picked on the local creek to eat, how to survive when you didn't have handouts and no money, because she was in Southern California. So she talked about that. But she would love to talk about her positive thinking, her avoiding pharmaceuticals if she can avoid them, avoiding television. The only TV my mom watches is the 49ers. Because she would much rather read or do puzzles. Every night she gets on her computer and she pulls up games, Sudoku, jumble, word games, puzzles. What's the other one? Solitaire. Things that keep her mind going is her, what she does to keep herself active and out there in the world and being involved with current events.
And what about
So,
your
yeah.
sister? Is she also exceptional, just like both of you? Your sister?
Yeah, I grew up in her shadow, and I think that contributed to my sucking my thumb for 13 years. She's an academic, honors classes. She got her bachelor's. When she goes into a subject, she goes really deep. And when she's passionate about something, she's thorough. So when she did the Peak Moment.tv series, she was figuring out ways that people could save money, to be smart about. Well, okay, I'm interrupting myself. 1990, they bought a whole bunch of acreage up out of Nevada City, and it was going to cost them tens of thousands of dollars to bring electricity up there. And she went, no, and pay an electric bill. So in 1990, they went solar on her property. So this is like at the forefront of solar and getting batteries to hold the solar on the property, and using well water to pump their own water. I mean, yeah, she's a pioneer and wants other people to be conscious about saving our earth. So yeah, she would be a good one to interview too. I'll give Nancy all of the contact information when we get
Please
done.
do, please do.
Yeah.
Yes. Nancy, do you have any question?
Do you have any picture of ravioli so our viewers can see it? Do you have one next to you?
On my phone, I don't know. Let me see if it'll pull up.
And that umbrella in one of your photos, is that with you? On your
Umbrella.
website. It was a beautiful umbrella, flurry decorations.
That was probably one of my props. It's a Hoberman sphere that's very colorful.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're thinking of. Years ago, I used to dance just singing in the rain with a broken umbrella, but I don't think that's it. Oh, here is ravioli. I don't know where the focus is.
Bring it closer.
Ravioli
Oh,
dressed
the wizard.
as a wizard. In this picture, he is Professor Bumblemore. See what else I can find. Here's a
You juggle
picture.
too, don't you?
I tried to find where the focus is.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to see.
That is when we were at the Teton County Fair in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Okay. We traveled. I was 14 years at the Orange County Fair, and he was there 16 years. And this picture, I don't know why the word downloading is across his forehead, but you can see it's weird because it keeps fuzzing up.
Right. Because
if I bring it back here,
yeah.
But then we got reflections.
Right.
So do you juggle or ride a unicycle? Or
I juggled poorly. I got a unicycle. I was so excited. And my husband said, "Thou shalt not ride a unicycle." And he's right, because it really takes a lot of balance. And even though I knew that you string a rope and you ride it and you grab the rope and you lose your balance, because I got the unicycle when I was 60.
Yeah.
He was fearful of my ability, because now I'm almost 75 and I injured myself on rollerblades at a gig. And rollerblades are steady. And so I haven't been on rollerblades since then, because I ended up in ER. A unicycle would be wonderful, but no, not at this age. Darn. Oh, here's a fun one. Here's his Barker. I'm sorry. Is it focused?
Yes. Yeah.
Colorful?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another one. Yeah. So you have an idea what, and when he dresses up, oh, here, Uncle Bunny. He has so many more characters than I do. There is Uncle Bunny. He's blinking.
Oh, so cute.
Can you see Uncle Bunny?
Yeah.
You know why he goes in and out of.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So how is a typical day of yours? Like you work X number of hours or?
No, it's more. I'm glad you asked. What is so funny is when you are in business for yourself, you're on 24/7. When the phone rings, you answer. When you need an invoice, I just did something for the defense depot. I have never waded through so much paperwork to be able to provide entertainment for the federal government. And I think, it's all done. And then today they said, we want a final invoice. I gave one to them 4 months ago. But anyway, so it never ends when you're on
your own.
You're on. I just found a ravioli as a leprechaun.
Oh, let me see.
Can I focus? That doesn't focus. Focus. I'm sorry. Now everything's blurry.
Right here. Oh, wow.
Can you see him there?
Yeah.
So weekends will often be like my Saturday. I had 12 hours, not including putting on makeup, driving. It was like 12 hours of work. Typically, it's a 2-hour gig, but we'll do 2 or 3 in a day. We're going to be tomorrow. We've got the senior citizen, the Lolly Hansen and Tracy. We will be there for 2 hours. And then we drive to Stockton for 2.5 hours for the housing authority. So one day could be busy. Another day could be hello. And on those days when we don't have gigs, we are repairing broken bubble wands. We are repairing or making magic. We are fixing costumes. So it's not like you work 3 hours a week and make money.
Right. Yeah.
It's a commitment that you do all the time.
Do you have kids?
I do not. I chose not to because of having been bulimic and alcoholic. I figured I did so much damage to my body that I wasn't willing to have a child that wasn't fully functioning. Too many fingers and toes, or 2 heads, or no head. Or I figured I have a cousin who has deformities, and I figured after the damage I did to my body, that it wouldn't be good. Ravioli has 3 children and lots of grandchildren, and I would not have been able to do as much because as I mentioned, over 5,000 gigs as a parent for 18 years, minimum of 18 years, 24/7. You're taking care of your child. In my mother's case, she is still taking care of her child 75 years later. So when you are raising a child and then having grandchildren and great-grandchildren, you spend a lot of time with your family, where I wouldn't be able to devote as much time I do to my volunteer as well as my paid gigs if I had family that I was focused on. So I think now I say I have hundreds of thousands of children.
Of course.
So
they all bring pleasure to you, but no pain.
It's true. No headaches.
Terry, I want to ask you something.
Oh.
And
Anybody else?
Alka as well.
Okay.
This is inspiring me. We would have like a high tea party. Why don't we have a clown festival?
Of course, we can.
Terry, I've never seen clown festivals around. I've seen like private shows and like 1 or 2 clowns. Do you know a lot of clowns that would come to this?
Not locally. No, it's actually, we're a dying breed,
Oh,
sadly. Yeah. Very few kids get inspired to do this. And a few years ago, we had the clowns who were evil. They would put clown costumes on and do bad things in the United States. And it hurt our business a lot. The local school district told the kids at school, if you see a clown, immediately call 911.
Oh.
Now, mind you, we had been in that school district and in every one of those elementary schools before. So they never said, if you see sparkles and ravioli, it's okay. If you see somebody that you don't know, call 911. But they did a blanket statement, call 911. The international clown organizations that I mentioned earlier suggested that if we go to a town like Dublin, where we're not known, to call ahead to the police department and say, I have a gig in your town on Elm Street. I am going to be there between the hours of 2 and 5. I am a legitimate clown. Just, I wanted to give you a heads up. Because if they got all these phone calls like, oh, there's a clown in our neighborhood, we don't need that. So that was before COVID that really our business took a hit. At that point, Ravioli decided that he would much rather do more character work. In fact, when he dresses as a magician, he looks like the Monopoly man, but more as characters, less as a clown, because a boy clown is less well received as a girl clown.
it's a stigma now.
Yeah. So he still will. But it's given him an opportunity to flourish in all those other personas.
Well, maybe we can have an event and tell everyone you have to dress up like a clown and prepare a gig.
Well, do you know,
Prepare an act or something.
Nancy, we were actually thinking of celebrating our 20th anniversary on the Monday of Labor Day is when we had our clown wedding. We're actually contemplating doing that, where 20 years ago, we sold raffle tickets for kids to have a chance to be in our wedding party. We turned 25 children into clowns.
Wow.
They chose what bow ties and what clothing items that they wanted to wear. The friend I mentioned earlier that's downsizing to a smaller place was one of the face painters. Another friend made balloon swords. And you know how the royalty in England, after a marriage, bridegroom walked under cross swords? We walked under cross balloon swords. So that would be something we're only a few months off, do that again in honor of our 20th anniversary, but have a gathering of people who want to either reminisce because they were the kids in the wedding party who might want to come and bring their children, or just have a clown free-for-all. So Nancy, you and I will talk.
Sure.
And I'll keep you posted.
Yes, please do. So thank you very much. Though we can talk for hours, laughing and talking to each
So
other.
interesting.
Yes, but thank you very
I do
much.
want to say one thing before. So Sparkle's Delight, you can just Google it, and then that's how you can contact her. I highly recommend her for a gig. She won't let you down.
Thank you. The company name that we changed to is zanyentertainment.com. So if people want to ZANY, entertainment.com.
Right. So I think you have a great opportunity, maybe if you're looking for in Silicon Valley, because people need, entertainers all the time in their parties. Silicon Valley is a valley where, all these computer programmers, they always believe in throwing parties for the kids and, things like that. So if we can help you promote here.
Ah, sweet. Are you down in Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
Ah, sweet. Yeah, I've done it for a number of parties over the years. In fact, anyway, thank you.
Right.
We'll talk.
You can.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Sparkles.
See you again. And we will continue with your mother and your sister.
And my sister. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.